Good evening, everyone. Could everyone take a seat, please? Yali Madad. I would like to welcome all of you to our lecture tonight on understanding spirituality. Our speaker will talk for about 1 hour, and we will open the floor afterwards for question and answers pertinent to the subject. Our speaker was born and brought up in East Africa, where he completed his education through high school. He followed it with a BA in Religious Studies at Columbia University in San Rafael, California, and obtained a diploma in oral and written French at Alliance Française in Paris, France. A firm believer in education being a lifelong process, he continued his training in philosophical studies, including theology, psychology, mysticism, comparative religions, counseling, and topped it all with Wising training with Maji Bachi Bai Tejpar. He worked in Paris, France for 4 years with ITREB France, Belgium, and Switzerland, and traveled to various Francophone Jamaats in Madagascar, Mauritius, Comoro Island, and La Réunion. He has undertaken trips to Jamaats on a worldwide basis and has conducted Wazin activities and religious education seminars. He has served on numerous Jamaati institutions. He currently works as an estate and financial planner for Canada Life Insurance. We are delighted to have him with us today. And please join me in extending a warm welcome to Alwaaz Alija Sadruddin Pradhan.
Yali Madad. Now I've been asked to talk about understanding spirituality. Spiritually, per se, if we are attentive when the farmans are being read and an importance is being attached by Maulana Hasan Imam, he always tells us how important it is for a person to be connected with the universal force, that is the universal soul, and that is the energy that makes everything work for him. So when Imam makes a farman, when we listen to it attentively, he tells us exactly which direction we should look towards getting the right type of enlightenment and the inspiration we need to be able to understand life. Because look, the material life is looking at home, nicely furnished, everything is fine, the decoration is beautiful, the landscape is wonderful, you're happy with your home. During the daytime, what happens at night? Can you still enjoy the same things the way you did during the daytime? The answer is no. What is missing? The daytime you looked at it, you enjoyed it. All the amenities that you have, all the comforts are there, all the preparations, the creativity was abundant there, and you thoroughly enjoyed that. What is it now that you said that it's not the same now? Why? Because it's obscure. Why? Because it's not clear. Why? Because it's hazy. Why? Because there's no light. So you need light when it's dark. Life, going through material life, is going with the eyes open, physical eyes, mental eyes, intellectual eyes. But when the trials and tribulations, or the challenges of life, or understanding of life, or looking at people alive today, come Parodi in the Jamaat Khana, somebody you shook hands with. Somebody was happy, jovial, healthier than you are, and he was cracking jokes. And you're so happy you went home and said, my God, this guy, full of life. Come Parodi, Mayat no sad, announcement for a Mayat. And this guy is gone. So you just ask yourself, who? You sure you didn't make a mistake about the guy, because to this physical eyes, even the intellectual eyes, even the mental perception, there's nothing wrong with this guy. How could a person so full of life die? His time came. His time came and he left? Yes. Then you ask yourself a question, that if somebody related to me, very near and dear to me, would I be able to deal with this thing? Now it's dark. Any time you have to make a decision which is beyond a person's comprehension, beyond a person's intellectual reach, beyond any calculation you can make in life by saying, yes, but why? And people will go down and get depressed and saying that, no, I don't understand about this thing. My friend, now it's getting dark. It's obscure. Put the light on. Where's the switch? Yes. Do you know in this house where is the switch? Have you tried to lift it up? To say to yourself, when I need that spiritual enlightenment, I know where to go? Or the connection, it has to be connected to the powerhouse. So you've got a beautiful home here, but there's no light. What are these wires lying on the floor? These are wires that will, for the electricity. And what are these boxes that? These are fuse boxes. And what's this thing on the panel there? That's to be connected to get the electrical force that you need. But the wires are there. The fuse box is there. The panel is there. The light is not there. Why? Because there's no connection. What is the meaning of the lines on the floor? That I have directives, the blessings of Imam, that at least once in your life you will get this spiritual enlightenment that will make you understand and demystify all the mysteries of life, because human mind doesn't have the capacity to understand what the life is, but universal soul has all the capacity. So you get connected. So now all the fittings are required, and then once it's plugged into that panel, which is connected to the powerhouse, and the moment you switch on, the light is there. So this is where Imam tries to explain it to us, that how important the light is for us. We say we are Ismailis, we say we are being guided by Maulana Hasan Imam. We say, okay, Mola is always with me, which is the fact, which is the truth. Okay, Mola is always with me. Ask ourselves a question, am I always with Mola? Mola is with me. Fine, it's true. Am I with Mola? When I move, I live, I have my being in the presence of Mola. Do I have the spiritual consciousness within me by saying, anything I do, anything I think, anything I venture to do in my life, I will ask Him to go ahead and show me the way, so that I will never in my life ever feel alone. Am I alone? No. If I didn't have that spiritual power with me, guiding me, I would be called dead. So I must be alive because I'm breathing. I must be supported and sustained by some kind of a force. Otherwise, I won't be living. Of course you are. How will I recognize it? How will I know? I've given this example a couple of times. Doesn't matter. I can't find a better example than this one. There's a blind man. And ritually, he goes to spend a day with a friend of his. Now the friend is not blind. So this guy will go in the morning, they'll spend the day together, the guy will cook a nice meal for him, tell him exactly what's happening in town, etc. They'll spend a very judiciously, very excellent time together. Good. So this blind man goes, as usual, to spend the day with his friend. And the friend is not blind. So comes the end of the day. So the blind man says, now I have to go home. So as usual, his friend, he always makes sure, he opens the door and sees what are the climatic conditions, what's happening outside, before he tells the guy, okay, proceed now, you're okay. There's no accident, or there's no road construction, or some kind of emergency somewhere. So he makes sure that the road is clear for this guy to head home. So he opens the door. He said, okay, Jana hai ghar? You want to go home? Yeah. Just a minute. Opens the door. And it was raining, cats and dogs. It was so bad. It was foggy. It was misty. You could hardly see your hand. And the visibility was zero. So the guy comes back and says, oh, I think you better spend the night here. He said, no, I have to go home. It is important that I should go home. Yes, but my friend, look at the weather. I mean, it's impossible. So he said, doesn't matter. I've got my stick here, and I come so often. I mean, I can go get home. Maybe not that fast. Slowly. I know my way. Don't you worry about it. So the guy said, you sure you want to go? Yeah, I do want to go. Just a minute. So the friend goes inside, comes with a kind of a fanos, like an oil lamp. And he brings it to this blind person. He says to him, take this. And the guy tries to touch it and gets his fingers burned. He says, what's this? It's a lamp. You're giving lamp to a blind man? You're making fun of me? He said, no, I'm not. I'm not making fun of you. So he said, oh, why giving lamp to a blind man? He says, no, excuse me. The reason why I give you, because you're going to cross the road and it's very misty, it's very foggy, visibility is terrible. But people might not see you, and somebody will coming from across the road will knock you down. So this lamp is going to protect you. That's why this lamp is there. They might not see you, but they see the lamp. Is it okay? You're not unhappy with me? No? You're not upset? No. Okay. Go. Goes few steps, little bit of distance. He says to himself, still there is a very little way left to go home. And somebody comes from across the road and knocks this person down. He's on his floor, lying on the floor. And the first thing he had to do, so the guy who came in, who knocked him down, when he came near, he saw that the guy was fumbling, looking for his cane, his stick. And he says to himself, oh, first I knocked this guy down. I didn't even know that he was blind. He felt pretty bad about it. Then he also found some kind of a lamp. So he got this guy up and he gave him his stick and gave him his lamp and he said, I'm so sorry, I didn't see you. So the blind man said, all you needed to do was to look at the lamp. So the man said, all you had to do is lit up the lamp. Is my lamp lit? Why do I go into depression? Huh? Why do I feel low in my life? I ask myself, that light, that lamp has got to be lit. But that kind of understanding will only come based on Mullah's Farman. So please recite the Holy Salawat, Padhola Medan. This Farman, beautiful Farman, was made on 6th of August 1994 in London. I'll just read a couple of passages from there. This tells about the philosophy of life. There are many times, I tell you, many situations where we don't have answers. And going inside, today's age and time, with the technology, what's happening around the world, TM meditation and Chopra guys and this guys and those guys, all they are trying to tell you is the internalization of the faith. Go within yourself and discover you have that spiritual potential within you that can give you all the answers. You don't need to go and see a psychiatrist. You don't need to go and see anybody for help, because Imam has made the most wonderful creation, which is a human being. He is a perfect person. He is a perfect creation. You go within yourself, you got 7 heavens, you got skies, you got the everything that is in this world. I cannot even describe, but just you can imagine. Any part of the creation is within you. So once you have to go and start searching, and that has to be a personal search, and that's why Baitul Khayal is so important for us. I read this Farman. The second aspect of Baitul Khayal, which is important, is that it has been part of the Shia tradition right from the time of Hazrat Ali, not only to practice the faith regularly during the normal times, but also to participate individually in the search for spiritual elevation. And that is done by each individual. It is not done as a congregational practice. It is done by each individual, and each individual seeks during his lifetime to find that spiritual enlightenment, that spiritual happiness that comes from the search, not from the practice of the faith in congregation. And then the spiritual approach to the tariqah, because it is a spiritual approach to the tariqah, is a long historic tradition, and therefore by being accepted in Baitul Khayal today, the murids who are here are joining a long tradition of individual search for spiritual enlightenment. Those of you living in the West, as most of you here are, will be aware subjectively of how material life has tended to monopolize more and more of your time. It is very different society than societies in other countries in the third world, for example, or in the Muslim world. And the value system of the Western world is therefore very significantly different from the value system which is traditional to our tariqah, rooted as it is outside the Western world. You do not need to adopt totally the value system of the societies in which you live. And sometimes I'm concerned that murids, in seeking to establish themselves in the Western world, confuse such establishment with the need to adopt all of its value systems. And therefore, I'm saying to you today that the value systems which are part of our tariqah are acceptable worldwide because they are peaceful, they are honest, they are ethical, they are proper, and therefore no one is in a position to challenge these premises. But what is essential is to keep as important to you every day this individual search in the practice of faith. Sometimes there is a tendency, particularly in the Western world, to let the material life override everything else. The overriding is not good. When you are born with a soul. The moment Allah gives you life, each individual has a soul. That is the only part of the individual which is eternal, and therefore caring for that soul is an important part of the individual's passage into physical life and out of the physical life, into the physical life and out of the physical life. This is why I mentioned to you today that the value system is extremely important to our tariqah and should not be compromised, no matter where you live, whether it is in the west or the east, the north or the south. And what are the advantages? Imam says, here in this Dar es Salaam, 5th of October 1988, when Maulana Papa says, when you succeed, and listen to this, when you succeed, and inshallah, you will succeed. You will find that light so powerful and so strong that it will give you a sense of inner happiness, inner warmth, inner discipline, inner courage, which you cannot get from any other source because it affects that which is eternal in you, which is your soul. And inshallah, you will carry that happiness with you all through your lives. And inshallah, that light will get stronger. If you find that you are able to succeed in that search, it will get stronger and more powerful as you practice your bandagi. And when I said getting out of the world, and Mola says, that light will accompany you to your last day. Salawat for Allah. So looking at the life the way do, we have to try to find out, okay, how well have I explored the world that I have within. There's a nice story I read the other day. It's by a Russian philosopher. It's pretty beautiful. And somewhere on the line he says that I read somewhere that the God created the world. And all the angels asked, why are you creating the world? And he said, because I was a hidden treasure and I want my moments, the ones I'm going to create, to discover me, and they will know exactly what am I. All the beauty and about the creation, etc., about Allah. They will see all the attributes that they talk about in reality, in real form, once they come to know me in the world. So how will they recognize you? So God said, yeah, that is a problem. I don't know, I have this secret. I have to put it somewhere in the world because it should be there should be an accessibility for my moments to go and get that truth. And through that truth, haqsu hakikat jinere kamai, so that they'll get the truth, and through the truth they will discover the real truth. They will come nearer, nearer, nearer to the nur of Ali or the nur of Allah or nur of the Creator. So they said, so where are you going to hide it? I said, that's what I'm thinking. So one angel said, why don't you put it at the bottom of the sea? That'd be too easy. Yeah? Because my moments will go deeper and deeper and deeper looking for the pearls and go up to the oysters and they will find this raz, that my bed, they will find. So he said, okay, so why don't you go and bury it in one of the biggest mountains? He said, no. These people, the stone cutters, etc., they will go and they go through and they get all kind of queries and they will go and go deeper and deeper. They might even reach that spot. So that might be easy. So they said, all right, then put it in somewhere in the dark forest. He said, they will also go through the forest and they'll find out. So Imam said, I want to put it somewhere that it's interesting for me to see how step by step they reach that truth. So finally the God said, yes, I got the answer. You have? Yeah. It's not in the sea. It's not in the mountain. It's not in the forest. And I'm going to put the truth in a person's heart. Because rarely a person will decide to go there. We carry that truth within us. How are we connected with the truth? And this totally deals with the Baitul Khayal, the spirituality part of our life, that Imam keeps on saying that without Baitul Khayal, you won't get anywhere. I mean, even if you reach somewhere in this world, Imam says, the true happiness for which I pray. This was in Karachi, 1964. I pray that you should experience that true happiness, Imam said. But if you think that you are the one who is creating everything that is happening in your life, and you forget to have the humility to think that you are just part of the creation, creator is somebody else, despite all my blessings, the real happiness will never touch your heart. So when we look at it, and when you think about it, we have to certainly ask ourselves the questions that what kind of understanding we have. Give you an example. I was in Paris, as I say. I'll give you 2-3 examples. Once a couple come to see Mola Bapa. Now, what had happened, they had a son. They have 3 sons. They had 3 sons. One of the sons was studying in Switzerland. And there was a school trip, and they were going to Alps, top of the mountains, like people go to hill stations, etc. So the child asked permission from the parents, could I go? It's a school trip. 60 children were going to the Alps. So the parents said, yes, go. Now, at this particular station, they were supposed to have reached that level, that phase, on the next day, but they didn't see the bus arriving. It was a school trip. Second day, third day, didn't arrive. So on the third day, when it didn't come, because they saw avalanche and they saw there was a lot of storms going on, so they assumed that the driver must have parked or been somewhere, and maybe he's trying to contact us. Anyway, 3 days later, they found the bus had gone into a valley, down, and it had crashed. It just slipped from a big mountain in the Alps, and they suddenly, through the helicopters, they found that it landed in the bottom of a very deep valley. So all the aid came, etc., and they finally removed the bus. Out of 60 children, 2 died, and 1 was their son. 1 Ismaili boy died, and 1 Swiss boy died. So they sent the letter to Mullah Hazir Imam. Talika Mubarak came, blessing them for fortitude, for courage, and for strength, and beautiful talika they had received. Now 2 years later, they had a mulakat at Eglamore, and I happened to be there. And I just gone to the canteen, I was coming out, and a couple was there, and they said, Alwaaz, we want to go downtown. Would you be driving back? And I said, yeah, I will drop you at your hotel. So I waited, and that's how I know the story. So the couple went to Mola Bapa, and they had a lot of things to discuss, and suddenly they had given the memani. They had already sent the memani, but they presented another memani for the soul of the departed son. So they looked at Imam, and Imam said, as I say to you in my talika, he is with us. He is now even here. His Ruhani is here, and he's in a very peaceful place. So the husband says, Khudawan, you gave, you take, we accept that. We submit absolute submission to the will of Allah. We're not questioning that. But there's a question, Khudawan, that's bothering my wife. I've dealt with it. She hasn't dealt with it for 2 years. What's the question? Imam said. So the questioning is that the Khudawan, when the bus fell into the ravine, into the valley, and it was only found after 3 days. So my wife keeps on thinking, getting nightmares at times. I don't know why, but she does, by saying, how much this child must have suffered for 3 days before the body was discovered. So Imam looked at them, and he said to them, you call me Ghafur Rahim, the infinite mercy, the most magnificent, the most beneficent, and these are the attributes you always recite. Imam said, and what makes you think that he died in that cruel manner in 3 days' time? Why don't you think that it could also be possible that before the bus landed on the ground, his soul was already taken out? See how we think, and see how Imam thinks. She looked at them and said, there is a possibility also, by saying, don't you worry. I'm more worried about you people than you people are worried about yourselves, you and your family, and etc. The family members, fine, as I've said to you, we are all like passengers in the compartment of the train. When our time will come, our station will be called, and we will go. But Imam knows, he sees everything, that when sometimes we talk about the grace of Imam, and then we question. And this is where somehow we create a lot of problems for ourselves, Because when we close eyes and we submit by saying that you, the giver of the life, the time comes, person is to go somewhere, because then you see, and your inner force will create a scenario. See, for example, you lost, like I lost my mom, cancer, and she suffered for 1 year, and we knew she was dying every day. Every day, that tomorrow she'll be dying, and she didn't. Took a year. Then she died. And I had been with Bhachibai Teshpar, and she'd been talking about the spirituality, and that's why I remember her very fondly today also. So she had said so many things, and when my mother died, I just closed my eyes. And the scenario came to my mind. That was depicted by Bhachibai Teshpar. She said, you look at a couple, they're in love, and they get married. Do they know what future is holding for them? The answer is this, she said in one of her sessions. That came to me at the death of my mother. I was just sitting there in the hospital, and this scenario came to me because I took it inside the scenario, and I'm going to look after it as a cherished memory. It's not a miracle. It's not something that told me that I feel pretty ecstatic about it. No. I took it in, and I started contemplating over what she had said. So it had remained in my memory. And when the right time came, it started working in my mind. So, sorry about that. And then she had said that they depicted two people, and they are in love, they're getting married, and they don't know what is in store for them in future. And then suddenly one day, the woman says, I think I'm pregnant. So they go to a gynecologist, and they do tests and said, yes, she is expecting. Now, God forbid if there are any complications, the gynecologists say, if there is a decision for the abortion because to save the life of the mother, certain period you must have it aborted, otherwise once the life is there, it will be too late. So now it's in my mind that once a woman is conceived, now she's pregnant, so the life has to come from somewhere. So then the movement begins, and we know now that life has come from somewhere. Then we ask ourselves a question. That child will become a man, will become an old man, will die. That is the age of the body, not of the soul, because the soul was millions of years old when it came into the womb, into the fetus. And that soul has gone out back to whatever phase it has reached according to our deeds, where we are sending that soul, because whatever we've done in this good we've done in this world, this resonates as far as our spiritual life is concerned, because the counterpart of everything we do, there's a counterpart within us, and it resonates inside, it reverberates inside what you do in this life. So that soul will go either richer or poorer or with nothing in the hand to show for. So that is life. And I looked at myself and I said to myself, that woman, she served, she gave the best shot, she did everything she could in my mind. And I said to myself, this is the time to celebrate her death. How can I celebrate my mother's death? By saying to myself that I am going to start praying from today that Mullah, grant me the possibility that I may follow in her footsteps, so that when I go, my children should get the same vision by saying that this guy also understood life. And to understand life, you have to understand, know yourself. And to know yourself, you have to know your soul. And to know your soul, you have to go to Bethlehem. There is no other way. That is the only thing we have to do, because what happens once you come for Bethlehem? Take your shoes out. Shoes are out. Took your overcoat out. And then take your body out. Your body, you put your body out. You don't even know sadru or nothing. What have you achieved in this world? What are your acquisitions? What are your titles? All in the shoe place. All. Why do you take your shoes off? Why did you take out outside? No, you needed it. Protection. When you came here, you don't need it inside, because it's been into the world. It's been treading into the world. So when you talk of the soul, take your shoes off, because you're talking about the sacred matters. So you've taken which shoes out? Your worldly shoes and your body. Because that is the place just for the spirits. That is the place for Ruhaniyat. This is where I go back and saying, come on, friend, Where are we going? How far do I have to go? And what about the connection we had? My world is outside. Now it's you and me. So let's sit together and let's just talk. If there's any possibility, there is obstacle or any shortcomings, well, I just looked at the Mona Lisa in Paris, and if there is something wrong with the tableau of Mona Lisa, I will not go asking the people who are in charge of that exhibition hall of the Louvre. I will go, if I knew the painter, by saying, these are the shortfalls, these are the mistakes, can you correct them because you're the one created. So I was created by you, and I got shortfalls because I am blind. Because you say you are there, and I can't see you. So make it possible so that you have to correct. Otherwise there will be mistakes in your creation, Imam. So I'm here, and I have nowhere else to go. I've come here, Mullah Bapa, so that I have come for that spiritual connection. Now at that time, the thoughts about the world, the things you have to do the next day, the kids are coming, somebody is flying out, or somebody coming in, it's all outside. It's nothing inside, because you left your world outside. And this is where Imam says to us how to concentrate. I'll read out one or two farmans. Please say the Salawat. Allahumma. This was October to December 1966, East Africa visit. When you are here, you may be here for 20, 30, 50, 90 years. Later on, your life will be eternal. And when you go into this life, you will have to account for what you've done on this earth. And you must try to understand that it is now that you must prepare yourselves, that you must devote sufficient time to your spiritual understanding, to your spiritual elevation, so that when you come to this new world, you will be better prepared. Finish. Everything is there. Where am I going from this life? I'm taking the orders. I mean, the indent is ready. It's already prepared. Where am I going? According to the kind of life I've led. I'm going to give you, maybe later on I might not have time, I've got many examples. I'll give a couple of examples. One day I was at Eglamo, and Valsani tells me, I'll give 2 examples. We have time. Are you okay for time? So the guy comes and he says to me, I saw him going into Mullah Bapa's office. He had an appointment. So he said, it's Chandra today. Can you take me to Khane? And I said, yeah. Those 4 years, I can tell you we can write a book. 4 years in Paris, we can write a book. And at times we sit and wonder, you would hit your head against the wall. It's not just being melodramatic or something, by saying how much this world has an effect on you once you do it something for a while, and the consistency is not there because the intensity of love is lacking. Because if you love somebody, you can go to work, you can be playing soccer, you can be playing badminton, you can be out with friends, you can be having big deals, you can getting things signed by big corporates, etc. But the love you have for that person is with it. You don't have to stop anything by thinking about the person you love. Maybe there is this is a possibility, because that intensity is not there, and that's why I'm not 100% connected with the kind of love. And this is something very important, because when I say to myself, I can only come to Jamaat Khana, I can only come in the evening, I cannot come for Betukya. Always came this morning. He made a very beautiful voice, and it was really, it is very empowering, the voice he made by saying we make this kind of conditions around us, by saying that I'm not ready for salvation. That's what I'm saying to myself. That when I go from here, people will be, thousands of people will come. 100,000 people will come. Million people will come to my funeral. But would there be one person who will say, Numuki Sahib? No. When you say Bismillah, no. You put that person down. Because I can't live without that person. I never ate without that person. There was never a meal cooked in the house which wasn't partaken by this person that I enjoyed. Nobody said. Everybody cried, they were sorry, but they moved and made a way for the guy. Although his hands are there, his legs are there, his eyes are there, his body is there, everything is intact. I don't want it because there are no other facilities. By tomorrow there will be a stench. This guy will start stinking. 50 years you slept next to this person, it wasn't a bother. Not 50 years because he had a soul. Now you tell him, okay, sir, just get rid, just take him quickly, and so that he put the career. I mean, dust shall go back to dust. So the relationship was with whom? With the soul. So if soul is not there, nothing else is there. No. So I give 99.99% importance to something that is perishable, something that nobody would want. Overnight, they wouldn't want. Mukhi said, yeah, Mother, something has happened. Can you make arrangements? Oh, what's the number for Ghusl, guys? What's the number for this? What's the number for... Excuse me, what are you doing? Just telling, get rid of that thing. Thing? Yeah. Why? Because I don't have any relation with that person. You don't? No. It's finished. Then I said to myself, what is going to come with me? I'm going to stand there and he said, were you in slums? No. Were you living in shanties? No. Did you have a problem getting 1 square meal a week? No. Did you see poor people in life? Yes, you did. I did. And you were in a privileged position. Why? Why? You know why? Imam said, because I took over all your problems. So that you must have done something in your past life so that now you could do something for your soul. And you standing here next to somebody who spent his life in a shanty, and that person couldn't do anything, and you person couldn't do anything because you enjoyed life. Look at all these people. Your shops are open, the video is working, the VCR is working, TV is working, they're going out, their outings are there, and life must go on. So what stopped without you? Nothing. What stopped without you? Nothing. And you thought everything was yours? This world was yours? No. This is a transit stop. Use everything. I'm here. I'm beautifully looked after my house. Absolutely wonderfully. But these are things, they say, well, these are the keys. These are the doors. These are the fridge. Just enjoy yourself. I'm using it, but they're not mine. I know. But I know one day I'm going to go and I'm going to leave these things behind. Life should be like that. You look at life and say to yourself, the life, physical life is temporal. Spiritual life is eternal. I have to prepare for my life hereafter. Anyway. So this guy comes out, says, I want to ride to Khane. I said, fine. She started crying. I don't know, it must be 38, 40 years old, something like that. And he was crying and crying. And it's about 45 kilometers from Eglamo to Chamat Khana. So he was driving and he was crying, and I just said, Mubarak Badi, and he gave me a candy, and I said, thank you. We reached Chamat Khana, he was still crying. So I said to him, look, this is the palace, Chamat Khana, and we're going to go in now. There's still 20 minutes to dua. So there's a cafe here. So have coffee or a croissant or something and freshen up, because maybe you've been overwhelmed for being so near Mullah Bapa, so I can understand. He said, we got 20 minutes? And I said, yeah, we have at least 20 minutes, about 30 minutes, but 10 minutes to cross the road, get the parking. Yeah, we got that much time. Says to me, how little we know, Imam. I said, I could have asked for salvation today. I could have asked for spiritual didar today. I could have asked for spiritual enlightenment. He and I were sitting together for 6 hours, Alwaaz. We talked about everything. Nice things, family, this, business, all my projects and Jamati projects and all that. Not even half a second it occurred to me, saying, Mala Bapa, the day I leave this world, would you come to pick me up? Make me worthy of that, Imam. At least say something on the spiritual aspect. I didn't. I just didn't, because we're not used to it. We are so engrossed in our own world that we forget that we are souls. We think we are bodies. We are not bodies. We are soul. It's a soul which is encaged, imprisoned in a body. It has come for its salvation. It has to get its freedom. That's why. And the Betul Kyal is the only thing that can give you freedom. You come in the morning, there are 12 people, 14 people. What happens to other people? Do they understand that they will live? Have they seen the deaths? Yes, they've seen the deaths. They've seen things, people going overnight? Yes, they've seen people going overnight. Do they know that they have another life to go to? Yes, they know about another life to go to. So, who is this material world that has engaged me, mesmerized me to this extent that I have forgotten my own spiritual identity? My mission of coming into this world. For what? And then I say I'm unhappy. Then I say things are not, how can they work? I mean, you got a gadget and the power is coming, sometimes it's not coming like this tape regular, sometimes it works and sometimes when I go home it's not working. But I can't rely on it. Anyway, are we okay? Are you guys enjoying? You alright? Little more time, be okay? Because Nina is, there, I have to answer to her. She has to answer to you. So aapne to bachi gaya, you know. I will quickly tell you these two examples. Anyway, this guy tells me, for 6 hours Alwaaz I was there, and I didn't talk about my soul. I talked about everything. It has to come also. And if the right time is right, this Imam says, I don't know if I'll find this farman. I brought so many farmans. It might be interesting to read this farman. I brought 80 farmans today. When I looked through my pages, I wanted to talk about spirituality. And Nina will say, Alwaaz, you have to go, we have to go home. I don't know what you. You can go on talking and we'll go home. It's easy to do that anyway. Wonderful. This is from Imam Nizar. Listen to it. The Imam explains who he is and what his status is. The Imam says, quote, in the eyes of people, I am only a person by the name of Nizar. This is Imam Nizar. Because it's a qasida. We got it translated. But in reality, I am one who sees everything in the world of reality. Unless the oyster is ready for the pearl, I do not cause for a drop. Unless the garden is worthy of flower, I do not provide it with moisture. People with their physical eyes see nothing except my body. I am the soul, which is seen by one in thousands. I am the soul which is seen by one in thousands. Imam says, I appear to be a drop, but in reality, I am both the encompassing ocean and the source of vision. If I do not provide an eye with vision, it will be devoid of vision. I am the vision of the eyes, and I am like both light and fire. Whoever remembers me, I am always with him at home or on a journey. He who walks by my side sincerely, I am also with him with all my kindness and with all my support. While I am present, the people with wisdom and intellect do not take advantage of my presence. And once I leave this world, they make my tomb a sanctuary for fulfillment of their wishes. This is what Imam said. I'll leave this example. I'll give one example. I'll finish my story, my presentation. It's okay? Anyway, one day I was doing the admission work. When we have to talk about spirituality, I will pay homage to my mentor, Goddess Bachibai Tejpal. She was the greatest spiritualist I have ever known in my life, because I spent 5 years with her, and the things I've seen that are at the disposal of a human being, what a human being is capable of deriving from the divine grace. And when we say that we just go through this treasure, and we don't even get 1 or 2 pearls, 1 or 2 stones out of it, and we're going through the river that is flowing full of pearls, full of happiness and the blessings, then we have to sit and wonder, okay, when they say Madan ka roya, kachu kamna, it means at the end of your life, if you sit and you repent, it's not going to be of any use, because then it will be too late. So one has to wake up. This, now I won't go. Baba said, my faith is esoteric. It is not exoteric. It is esoteric. Have I taken the Batiniyat aspect of Ismailism, or I am just on the physical Shariat of Ismailism? I have to ask myself, why these Jamaat Khanas are not full in the morning? Because this is where we get what we have come for. This is where what we get. And then they'll say, Dua Mukhi Kamar Sar. Why doesn't it say, Dasun Sukhte Pura Rakhne, Sam Salah class Muhammad Mein Wazaro Kar, Din Dunya Mein Charti Kar, when somebody is gone? Why Mukhi Kamaras, they're not that generous and they're sitting there? Mukhi Kamar Sar. Why do you just pray, Ki Mola Ruhani sa guna maaf kar, Nuranda nasib kar, asal mein wasal kar, ki hani ke roji kamani zarur hai? Nahi. Ki din dunya mein charti zarur hai? Nahi. So, this is why he had come. Yeah? He left everything behind. No, but that wasn't his. That was what? That was for him to use. That wasn't his. Nothing went with him. to give you. I was involved with the admission committee in Kenya. A lot of people used to come, and there's a usual procedure. It takes a couple of months or a couple of years, and training and history and the cultural aspect of our faith, and you name it. We teach them and coach them, and dua they learn, the meaning they learn, and they understand the faith so that it's easier for them to move from one faith into another. So that's the work of the admission committee. So a lot of people used to come. Now one day I was sitting in my office, one European Englishman, must be about 25, 26. He just finishing his university education. He comes to my office. He said, "Are you Alwaaz Pradhan?" "Yeah." "I want to become an Ismaili." "Good. This is the form. Fill up your name and your contact and this and that and anybody to recommendation, this. He filled it up. Then he looked at me and he said, "How much do I have to know of this?" I said, "I don't know. Take all this and they'll start training." And said, "Can you give me the subjects where they're going to train me?" And I said, "Yeah, the history and little background, maybe Fatimid period and Dores Sattar and the Alamud period and the genealogy of Imams and Prophet Muhammad and revelation of the Quran and Sharif." And I said, "These are the top headlines that go about this." He said, "But I have all the answers." "Excuse me? Are you from a Muslim country?" I said, No, I'm from England. I am here and I've just finished my studies. My father is in one of the farmers, and then they're going back, but I'm finishing my studies from university here in Kenya, and I'm going back. So I said, "How do you know all this?" And he said, "I can't tell you, but you ask me the questions and I can give you the answer." "How many ayats in Quran?" He knew. So I said, "Oh, okay, there's not much time for me to go anywhere." So I spent 10 minutes with him. So I started asking him questions. He knew everything. He knew about all the wars of Jang-e Uhud and Jang-e Karbala and Nabi Sahib's life and Hazrat Ali and Miraj and Laylatul Qadr and whatnot. So I looked at him. I said, "I hope this guy is not a kind of an imposter or somebody, and I'm going to be in serious trouble. I mean, what is he up to?" And he gave me, I'm telling you, Jamaat Khana gave me all the answers. So I said, okay, so fine. In 10 days' time, there's going to be an interview, and the Tariqa local chairperson or whoever they've decided, that team is going to interview. So in 10 days' time, I fixed up a time and informed the Tariqa board that this guy is coming. So I said, "Tighten your belt, tighten your seat belt." I told Tariqa chairman, I said, "This guy is going to come, but you better tighten your seat belt because this guy is somebody." So okay, they interviewed him. Oh, he came out with flying colors. Second, third, fourth. Time came where I think about 2-3 months' time he was ready. So one day we were sitting and I said to him, "Very good." Dua he knew by heart, the whole dua and the philosophy of dua. I said to myself, this is what we talk about, conviction. So I said to him, "Fine. So they have decided that they're going to do your ceremony soon because Kushal is coming soon, one of these days. So they're going to ask you, so let's go through the ceremony, what will happen and this and that." Then the first thing came, so I said to him, "They're going to change your name." He said, "No, you don't have to." I said, "We can't call you John." He said, "But no, you're not going to call me John." So I said, "Your name is going to be changed." He said, "Yeah, I've already picked my name." I said, "What's your name?" He said, "Whoever Muhammad loved, he called him Mary Jan." So I said, "Mary Jan?" He said, "Yeah." So I said, "We're going to call you Mary Jan?" He said, "No, you're going to call me Jan Muhammad because I'm Muhammad's Jan." Wow. Mar gaye. I'm Muhammad's Jan. So he called me Jan Muhammad. Bola ke this guy has come to test me anyway, but it's off me now because some other people are going to take over. I mean, 2-3 months. I had a wonderful, fabulous time with him because he had studied. So I said to him, now, day after tomorrow, there's going to be Baya ceremony, oath of allegiance. Huh? So he said, then he started crying. So why are you crying? So he said to me, "Maybe I've committed a sin and I want to go with a slate totally clean and become an Ismaili." So I said, "You sinned? How?" He said, "Look, I study in the university. I'm sharing a room with an Ismaili boy. And all his relatives from the Hikmat and Africa Ismaili, Canada Ismaili, and God knows all, they send him magazines. So once the magazines come, he cuts the photographs and he sticks them on the wall. So before he cuts the photograph, I tell them, wait, I've read all the articles. I know about all the battles, and I know about everything that has happened in the Dawa. So I would read all the articles, and he would, then I'll tell you, just point out the photograph you want, because don't cut, because part of the articles are at the back of the photo. So tell me which photos you want, and I will cut them for you. But before that, I read everything. I know about the whole history of Ismailism. I say, Baap re Baap. It's so true. It's so true. When Ismailism, I can talk in the photo, I will just go through that. So, the ceremony took place. I said to my son, Paito. Well, it wasn't Paito. No. A few days later, he calls me and he said, so what is this? Like, you make Ismailis now, I can't become a member of Mandlis for 3 years. I don't know, say same now. Anyway. So I told him, yeah. So he said, why? It's a waiting period for non-Ismailis become Ismailis. I said, no, it's not a waiting period. It's a training period. So what do you mean training? I said, well, with you maybe it's exceptional, but you have been following up to this age one order, either you be a Christian or you follow the Jewish religion or Hindu religion or whatever you came from. So to change over, so we'll train you what this Pansal Barsal is and what other Mandlis are. So that once you become a member, you will plunge into it. So it's a training period, not a waiting period. Fine. Then one day he calls me and said, can you buy me a coffee? I said, yo. Every time he said, buy me a coffee, I said, I'm gone now. One of these days, he said, hi. I said, hi. He said, now we should say Yali Madad. I said, I think you better say Molali Madad. Buy me a cup of coffee. And I said, now what's happening? So I said, okay, let's go out. So I went, bought him a cup of coffee. He said, the worst thing you could have done to me. And he started this langar like this, and I saw, so masumiyat. He literally sobbed. He took out his hanky and he was crying. In the cafe, sitting in public. People thought I was flogging him or something. What's wrong? He said, but the whole faith is based on Baitul Kya. The whole faith. I'm not talking about the forms, rites and the ceremonies and all that. The essence is Baitul Kya. That the love you have for the Imam is Baitul Kya. Now, I can't become a member of Baitul Kya. So for 3 years, I cannot become member of Baitul Kya. So I am not an Ismaili because Ismailis are Batiniyat. He tells me, Ismailis are Batiniyas. And you make me Shariati. I don't want to become a Shariati Ismaili. That's Baba, just hold it. Huh? This Batiniyat is something. One has to sort of get used to it. I mean, we have to, there's a period of formation. We have to train you to be able to understand the esoteric aspect of the faith and this and that. So he says to me, this is terrible. But you know something? Whatever you do and whatever you say, I don't care. And I said, excuse me? He said, I sit every morning at 4 o'clock in my room and I do ibadah. I said, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Because if I know, you'll be in trouble. At home I can do it. I said, well, what you do at home, you eat, you sleep, you watch TV, you're telling me what you do, so don't tell me. Well, I knew that this was a lost soul from somewhere. Then, one day again, I said, now this was over. For 3 years, he calls me. Like, buy me a cup of coffee. Now what? Imam is coming. I said, yeah, he's coming. So, Alwaaz, I bothered you so much. Last, only favor. Somehow arrange that Mola Bapa places his hand on me. Just once. Because then my kaya, my body will become pure. Because my soul is already pure. So I say, your soul is pure, your body. No. I just want that touch. Just once. I want Mola Bapa to touch me. So I said, look, there's Sadruddin. I don't know what varas they've given. I know the setup. I know Mola Bapa is giving Didar. He's going upstairs. Because that all those ceremonies upstairs will be handled by the University Mukhi Kamaria Sahib. And there are no ceremonies today and no bowl and nothing. Nothing else is happening. So I don't know. Go and see Mukhi Sahib. So I called, and Mukhi Sahib used to see him. He used to go to Khane every day. But he went to Khane every day. He conversed with Imam Salawat Parullah Mera in Khane. He talked with Imam in Khane. He literally, I could see him, strong for me to say that, Mola mune maaf kare. So I used to sometimes look at him. So I used to sit on the path. I was a member for council. Just look at him. I say to myself, like that man was crying. Coming after Iglamo, I say to Mola Baba, when will we get this intensity? Where? Look at this guy. Ali. If you say Ali, the tears will come out of his eyes. So I called Mukhi Sahib. I said, I don't know what kind of vara is and students. He's a university student. I don't know what you're going to do. They say, anyway, send him to me. So he went there. Mukhi Sahib explained, look, these are the Mukhi Kamriyas of university. And these people have been handling all these Padramanis, and the people, you don't sing Ginan, so you're going to recite Ginan. There was no Qasida at that time. Ginan, and then there's the Tilawati Quran. So I have already asked somebody a student to do it. Another student is doing Ginan Sharif. And that's all there is. And there's us, Mukhi Kamariya, Mukhyani Kamariyani. And there's no other ceremony. And downstairs, the captain of volunteer will open the door for ladies volunteer when he comes, and I don't know, gents volunteer when he goes. So you want me to deprive somebody? I don't know. He said, no. I know. No, but Mukhi Sahib, and he went to Mukhi Sahib, I want him to touch me. Mukhi Sahib said, when I saw that, it's not what you say. When I talk to you, through my thorax, it will touch your ears. If I talk to you, through my mental capacity, it will touch your intellect. If I talk to you through my soul, it has to vibrate your soul. Otherwise, I'm not talking. This guy talked through the soul. Mukhi Sahib said, he looked at me and said, isn't there a possibility where he could touch me once? Mukhi Sahib said, John Muhammad, you go now. I don't know. There might be something. I don't know if there are any other ceremonies or something. I don't know. But we'll see. Then Mukhi Sahib calls me. Alwaaz, I don't know. I'm not so sure. I wanted to say something. I didn't want to confuse him because the love for Imam is so. It's like a live wire, and I just don't want to upset that. What I want you to explain to him, that Hazar Imam will come to the first floor for General Didan. Okay, Alwaaz, you follow? I say, I'll follow. Then he walks, and he goes to the door of the elevator. Yes? Yes. And Kamariya Sahib goes by stair upstairs to inform the University Jamaat that he is coming. Right? Right. So I accompany Mullah Wapa is walking in front. I go behind. We both enter the elevator, and then I take him to the second floor. Make him stand next to, no duty or nothing, not inside, come inside the elevator, nothing. Stand by the elevator. Now, he knows, his Mullah knows, I don't know, but whole night I haven't slept because that vibration has been working me up. Otherwise, I don't know what. I said to him, okay. So I called him, Chanma, look, no strings attached. No promises made. And don't turn around tomorrow and say, do this and that, otherwise. Please. Mukhi Sahib is thought about this. And whether it's going to happen, it won't happen. But he will pass by you. So see yourself. Anyway. But he will, at least, you will be the only person, because I'm the captain of the volunteer also. And I'm Kamariya of Baitul Kya. So I will make sure that you first come inside the main hall, if you know the Nairobi Jamaat Khana. And when Mullah Baba comes and passes, when he sees that he's got off the stage, this time I'll make you just go quickly and stand near the elevator. Okay? But no promises. Okay? Don't talk to Imam. Don't extend your hand. Don't do anything, please. Because we have a faith that he knows all. Okay? He knows all. He sees everything. Okay? Otherwise, the whole purpose is defeated if you talk to him like a human being, because he's not a human being. You know, you say, I know who he is. I say, if you know who he is, okay, I don't want to tell you twice, okay? But just stand there. So Imam came. Now he's just standing there near the door. I wanted to make sure. So I was standing and the Didar is going there. And I knew the elevator was blocked. And Mullah Baba got up. But before he got up, I saw this guy. And I'm telling you in Jamaat Khana, I was looking at Mullah Baba. And Mullah Baba was looking at him. And Mullah Baba, he made farmans. He actually sat down and he was crying all the time. Ali, 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 like that. I said to myself, boy, it's like a time bomb. So I looked at him and suddenly their eyes met. And I saw, he was sitting here near me. And he says to Mullah Baba, yes. And Mullah Baba from there says to him, yes. That I saw myself. When I saw that yes and yes business, I said, Mullah, now you take over. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know. He's going to jump on. I don't know. He's going to crawl out. I don't know. You said yes and he said yes. Tum jano, tumhara banda jane. So Mullah Baba got up. So it started coming out. So I told John Mama, go, there, stand near the, so I told one of the volunteers, don't stop him. Let him just go stand near the elevator door. So he went and stood there. Kamaria Sahib went up. Mullah Bapa came, and was standing there, and came near the elevator. I don't know what happened. So suddenly Mukhi Sahib said, Khudawan, this is John Mama. It wasn't planned. And Mukhi Sahib took the first step, says, Khudawan, this is John Mama. And he's newly converted, and he's got so much love for the Imam, and he comes to Jamaat Khana every day. So Imam looks at him and takes both his hands and puts both his hands in both shoulders, like that. Imam, like that. She started crying. Imam said, Khana Vadan, Khana Vadan. And anything Mukhi Sahib said, Mullah Baba said, yes, I know. He said, it's just become this one, I know. He comes to Jamaat Khana regularly, I know. Imam kept on saying, and he put both his Mubarak hands, and I was looking, I could see that. And suddenly something happened, and Mukhi Sahib was waiting for Imam to get inside the elevator. Mullah Baba pulled this guy by his jacket, like that, and started pulling him inside the elevator. Now this guy didn't know what was happening, and I could see, and I didn't know what was happening. I just looked at it, and Mullah Baba started pulling him, his sleeve, so hard, and take him inside the elevator. So Mukhi Sahib moved away, and he took him inside, and then said to Mukhi Sahib, let's go. So they got, three of them now, got into the elevator. So Mukhi Sahib pressed 2, so that the elevator go to number 2. The elevator started moving. Imam stopped the elevator. Mukhi Sahib said, only I could hear. Then later, I was standing, maybe touching Mullah Baba, almost, because 3 of us was crowding into that elevator. Otherwise, I became deaf. All I could hear, Mullah Baba said to him, so Jan Muhammad, you want Ismi Azam? Yes. Imam gave him the Ismi Azam in the elevator. Gave him the Ismi Azam and asked him to repeat. The Mukhi Sahib said, all I could see that their lips were moving. I can tell you, I'm Mukhi. I didn't hear a word. There was something going on. And suddenly, I started hearing. And when Imam says, Mukhi, I've accepted Jan Muhammad in Baitul Khiyal. I've given an Ismi Azam. Tell Baitul Khiyal Mukhi Kamaria, he can go to Jamaat Khana from tomorrow morning. This is the recognition of Allah. This is Imam. This is His grace. Don't let it pass by. Don't let time pass by. The moment they go, this is a precious, precious occasion we have, where a living Imam is saying, come to me, come, come. I'll take you in my arms. Come, because I love you more than anything, anybody in this world. And you have an experience the more than anything you've enjoyed and experienced in this life. That is the spiritual aspect of life. Mullah Jamaat Sukhi Salamatan Abad Rakhe, Neek Umeed Puri Kare, Sawasan Jamaat Khana Himmat and Shakti Ape. May we advance in spiritual life. May Hazrima always be happy with us. May we be regular evening and the morning, and then we go and get the divine grace of Maulana Hazrima and get Zahiri, Batuni and Ibadat ma we get Nurani Ditar. Jamaat ke hai jana. Salawat Paula. I don't know who sent this question. I can't read. It's not clear. Can you? What is the importance of what? Oh, about saying Jamaat Khana. Dua in Jamaat Khana. And I have a Farman here, but I have an article here. It talks about Jamaat Khana. That's what it says. I'm glad that somebody brought it up. The question is, why is it important to go to Jamaat Khana? And we can easily say our prayers at home. So there is an ayat. Imam says, similarly, our holy Imams also have made known to us the significance of Jamaat Khana. Hazrat Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah has described Jamaat Khana as the foundation of the faith, and also told us that if you realize the presence of your Imam in Jamaat Khana, you will be prosperous in this world and also have Nurani Didar in Jamaat Khana. Because of this reason, we have been told to establish that contact when we come to Jamaat Khana. And there is another farman also, if I find it, where Imam also said importance of attending Jamaat Khana. If I don't find it, then I'm going to paraphrase it anyway, because there's a lot. There is a ayat of Quran Sharif also, when it said the name of Jamaat Khana is used as such all over the Ismaili world, except in Syria where it is called Masjid, and in Iran where it is called Panjtan Gah, in Paris where it is called Centre Culturel Ismailia, and in London where it is called Ismaili Cultural Center. In all this diversity of the names, it brings home only one meaning of Jamaat Khana, and that is the word Bait Matuni, or houses mentioned in the Holy Quran. these are the houses of Ali and Nabi, and these are the houses from where the divine light manifests itself in the fullest form. And you don't get that in home. No, besides the congregational. No, Imam said, besides the congregational prayers, there is a personal search, and that is going for ibadat. Also, the congregational prayers, first we start like coming in the evening, and then this is the preparation for the morning also. So when you come in the morning, we come for personal search. So evening prayers, they prepare us. Evening prayers is the preparation for Baitul Khayal. So we are charged. We get that spiritual energy. And then when we come in the morning, we have already gone through that process. And it's just a process of getting through the refinery. So when we go in the morning, then it becomes Baitul Khayal. It's not congregational prayer. It's ibadat. Imam says, everybody comes for personal search. Then 5 o'clock, we just say our dua. All the spiritual forces are in Jamaat Khana. In Jamaat Khana. And this is where we get the empowerment. We are empowered because all the forces, Imam says, 33 crore devta, like all these Ruhanis, you can't even 330 million. Ruhaniyas are in Jamaat Khana. And that's why when we come, the atmosphere for ibadat has to be conducive. It has to be conducive for us. That's why Imam says, once you sit in Jamaat Khana, all the power of the people around also, and the rahmat of all the Ruhanis, will generate such force within us like an aircraft. And then when you say that aircraft is taxing on the tarmac, and suddenly you'll see that all it's doing is amassing, is collecting all the force. And the moment that force is there, and it takes off, and it goes into the orbit, you know. So here in Jamaat Khana, we need all sorts of forces, all kind of the energy that we need. And this is the only place, because the world is not here. At home, the world is there. The thoughts about the world, the Russian philosopher said, the thoughts about world is like smoke rings. They stay in the house. But when you come to Jamaat Khana, you're away from all that. So that the atmosphere is so conducive that it enhances our progress.
Any more questions? No? Okay. Well, we are so happy and delighted that Alwaaz Sadruddin is with us tonight. And he's graced us with his very wonderful and very, very exciting voice. Very inspirational. And I think it must have aroused a lot of spiritual strength in all of us. And I would like to say on behalf of Tariqa Board Seattle, thank you very much, Sadruddin, for sharing with us your knowledge, your wisdom. And this has been the grace of Hazrat Imam that you are with us tonight. And I would like all of us to give him a great hand. I would also like to thank very much the Jamaat for being so supportive in all of our programs, including today, and being present here tonight and sharing this occasion with us all. Your support and your being here gives us a lot of strength. And it also encourages my committee to come up with even greater programs right through the rest of the term. I would also like to express our sincere thanks to the Seattle Volunteer Corps for the services, for making all the arrangements, and also the members of the JMT team, particularly Akbar and his assistants, for all the arrangements and the preparations and taking care of the video and the audio systems. And to the Mukhi Sahib, Kamara Sahib, Mukhi Anima, Kamara Anima again, for being very supportive to us in all of our work and all of our tasks, and for their guidance and for their generosity. And to Nina for her personal service. Thank you. I'm very happy to inform the Jamaat that Alwaaz will be giving a wise tomorrow in the morning. Sorry, not tomorrow in the morning, beg your pardon, I misunderstood. Tomorrow in the Baitul Khal Badlas. So this is another reminder, and I hope the Jamaat would come in large numbers to attend. And I will request Mukhi Sahib and Kamara Sahib to bless with the prayers.
Thank you, Ali Sahib. We would humbly pray to the Huzur Nur of Maulana Hazrat Imam that may Hazrat Imam accept all your services. May he reward you in plenty in this world and next. हाज़िर इमाम आपका ईमान ज़िंदगी के आखिरी दम तक सलामत रखे। मौला अपने घर की, जमात की, इमामत की खिदमत करने की आला तौफीक दे। हाज़िर इमाम दीन और दुनिया में तरक्की देवे। मौलाना हाज़िर इमाम आपके रूहानी इल्म में इजाफ़ा करे। हाज़िर इमाम हमेशा आपके साथ में रहे। मौला हमेशा अपनी रहमतों और अपनी दुआओं में रखे। खाना वदान खाना वदान।